Okay, I hate the Infographics Show. I think it's terrible. And 2 of their videos I think are absolutely horrendous. Okay, there we go. So, the 2 I'm talking about are Asimo. That name, I can't actually pronounce it. I'm not Finnish, obviously I'm not Finnish, I don't know that. But they can't pronounce it, they pronounce it Heiha, and I'm pretty sure it's not that. I've heard some Nordic YouTuber call it Hoiha or something, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to go through this list I've made about how terrible I think they are. It's not about the information, it's about what they present in the video, because their animators can't do anything right. I'm going to go over the Queen's Guard video as well, and I hate the thumbnail for that one. It shows a Queen's Guard soldier with a bearskin cap on. No, helmet, hat, I'm going to call it a cap, but just sort of like that. Just sort of all over the place. So, yeah, I don't like how they're representing the Queen's Guard, in my opinion. Okay, so, yeah, I've gone over the first one. There we go. I can't pronounce the name right. In the video, they also show him wearing a modern camouflage uniform on, and it makes sense later because it talks about him in the modern day. I don't think he'd have like actual military camo on, but I suppose why not? It makes more sense. But this is in the 40s, well actually 30s and 20s, so it doesn't make much sense unless he's a time traveller now, somehow, in the Infographics Show universe. I don't know. And yeah, he's got modern gear, like, just, like some modern AK, like an AKM, which doesn't mean modern, it means milled, as far as I know. Another more modern version, I think, I'm not sure. It was like an AK with the polymer furniture on the front, on the barrel shroud. It was just like an all black AK, no wood furniture on it. You know, one of those ones, the ones that are called AKMs, as if to make it become an AK modern, though it's not a modern AK. And they used the milled receiver, the AKMs, for a short time, and then went back to stamped metal, I think. I'm not sure they used milled, as in the USSR. I don't think they used it for very long before they went back to the stamped metal. I think they still produced a few milled ones, but oh look at that, I've gone on a rant now. Yeah, and then they show they've got Finland and Russia, and they're showing them in modern camouflage gear and modern weapons, and it just doesn't make sense. Okay, this is the 30s. This is November 17, 1939 to February 14th, 1940, I think. I mean, I just watched the video, so that might be it. So then they show the modern Zemo higher. That's what I'm going to call him, higher. It's probably not right, and I'm just as guilty as the Infographics Show for that, but it's a better guess than Hey Ha, because he's got umlauts on the A's. I don't know if they're called umlauts in every other language, but that's one I know from German. Anything I remember from German. Yeah, and then they actually have like relevant camouflaged soldiers with relevant helmets sort of like the Soviet ones you see. Shut up. Shut up! Sorry about that. Yeah, they have like actual 1939 to 1940 looking soldiers there instead of the modern day three-tone camouflage, winter camouflage colour and all that. And then they just completely reverse all that by making those soldiers, they had skis before, which yeah makes sense, and then puts M16s in their hands. Though this is in 1939, M16 was 1950s, developed in late 1950s to early 1960s, marketed to the public. It's not a weapon of war. It was used by the military, not a weapon of war. Joe Biden, thank you very much. Yeah, and then it goes on and shows. It's a really weird scene, this, because it shows him in the forest, in the snow, and then shows like a modern teenager with a Dragunov-looking rifle for some reason, but this is supposed to be. Well, he was born in 1905, so this is teenager, so I don't know. What, 1920? The AK-47 is not even made until 1947. Dragunov is probably going to come out in 1950 or something. I don't know. I don't know much about the Dragunov, except it exists. It looks like the AK. So he's not going to have that in 1920 unless, again, he's a time traveller. He's not. Unless this is the Infographics Show universe. Be going for some minutes. Give me a sec. Yeah, and they call it an M98. You do practice with an M98. That's what the Finnish call their Mosins, because they were manufactured in 1928. Again, and then the last point I've got is that it says he went hunting with the president of Finland. There's never been a president of Finland as far as I know. There's been prime ministers, and there is one today. There's been no presidents, so I guess Infographics Show universe, guess they just make up the rules. Okay, so we're going on to Queen's Guard now. Okay, so yeah, I've already discussed the thumbnail. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Okay, so this is the first point I've got for this. They're marching on the spot, and you know they're doing the duh 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 duh. You know, the marching, obviously, but on spot, and they're going. Give me a sec. I get to flex this now. It's an air rifle, don't worry. And they're just going between their two hands until it finally goes into their right hand. I can put this back up now. Maybe not. Actually, I might need it later for this video. I can't shoot in the garden anymore because I went across the road. Well, not across the road. And then, I mean, in that scene there, march on the spot, they had SA-80s. I'm assuming A2s because it won't be the A1 because the A1's bad. And H&K had to redesign the SA-80. It was the L85. I'm assuming the L85 is a rifle configuration and the SA-80 is a carbine. I'm not entirely sure on that. I don't know. I know it's a bullpup and that's basically it. Then it shows them holding M1 carbines. as far as I know, they've never had M1 carbines. Into the 50s, they would have still had SMLEs, and then they would have gone to, what, the FAL? After that, the FN, FAL? I don't know, I think so. We had that for a time in 5.56. I think it was in 308, and then it was in 5.56. I'm not sure if the Queen's Guard kept and we had that. I'm entirely sure. I don't even know what we had from the 50s to the 2000s or whatever, whenever we adopted the L80. Yeah, the L85. Probably not 1985, I assume. The SA80, I don't know. I'm confused with that. And then, oh brilliant, here we go. Yeah, this is it. Okay. So, yes, I'm fat, shut up. So it shows them holding their M1 carbines for whatever reason. They have that. So they have them like this. And then they go to aim at the public. And then they do this to aim down. When using logic, you should just go like that instead, because that makes sense. I mean, this has a bit of recoil, not much, but you know, it goes, you know, it'll put you off target, even though that doesn't matter, it's single sharp break action. Good, I'll do an air eye for you. Yeah, so with this, having it back here, like, that's just bad. I mean, the scope, I mean, you can't, oh you can, look, there's that tiny little yellow dot. That's what the scope looks like, essentially, from back there. You can see the crosshair, we can't really. What? Oh, well that yellow dot on there, that's what it essentially looks like from back here. And you can see the crosshair, but it's like that in that, you know, it doesn't make sense. Okay, we'll put the thing back afterwards. Yeah, and they're attacking a disgruntled public. One's wearing a balaclava, so I'm assuming that's the IRA. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so this bit there, they're not marching properly. They're doing their stupid little leaning back walk, which they don't do in reality. I think we have to make that distinction. But their arm movements are just, and they should be, like at the front, they do that, and then they go to about here at the back, you know, like a 90 degree at the front, 45 degree at the back. Give me some. Yeah, and then they go. Oh yeah, and in that scene also, they're holding an M1 carbine again. No reason for them to, that's an American weapon. So, and then they go on to interviews with soldiers, apparently, with the Queen's Guard, apparently, because apparently they're allowed to go on interviews, I suppose. And they claim the rifles aren't loaded. I assume when the Queen's not there, yes, maybe, I don't know, maybe just a first blank round, and maybe just a mag of blank rounds, or just a few blank rounds, so they fire once, the person climbing up the gates go, ooh, and they can just, you know, pull the bolt back, so it goes in jerks and loads one back in. Yeah, so I don't really believe that when they say unless there's a high level threat. Well, if the Queen's there, it doesn't matter if there's going to be a threat. You're going to have loaded rifles, aren't you? Or loaded mags in the rifles. Or carbines, I don't know. I don't know the difference between the L85 and SA80. Or L85, A2 and A3 and the SA80. I don't know if they're the same thing or different. One's rifle and one's carbine. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay. Yeah, and another soldier revealed in an interview that they would sneak lady friends, as the video put it, into Prince Andrew's room. I'm not going to comment on that, except there were probably some minors, as in children. I don't know, some joke about Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. I don't know. And he didn't.